Dwight Howard's ex, Royce Reed, details their relationship from the beginning.
Hey y'all, I'm Royce. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm gonna get this out. So, this is my story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 to now. All because I had a baby by Superman. Part 1. July 31st, 2004, I was at the movies at Downtown Disney with 2 of my friends. When 3 male figures walk in, one looking to be about an inch away from being a midget, the other very skinny and he had a bad acne problem, and another one who was extremely tall. As they come over to the concession stand, we are greeted with, "Y'all in my book." Our response was, "What book?" He goes, "My yearbook." I then respond, "No, sweetie, I'm grown." He goes, "No, my magic book. Y'all used to dance with the magic." Oh, yes. He's like, "I'm the rookie." Oh, hey. That's how that went, okay? And he was talking about, oh, y'all not dancing this year, that we left them with the Lion King. Like, it was a bunch of niceties and goofiness, and that was it. He still had braces. It was nothing. So we go to see The Notebook, and they go to see something that I used to think was Transformers, but it was something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe iRobot. I don't know. Anyway, about 10-20 minutes into our movie, I go to the bathroom because I am now in a full-blown argument with my then boyfriend, who is breaking up with me because he is swearing that I'm at the movies with a dude. Obviously, I am not, but he was very insecure, and it was just an ongoing thing with us. So we broke up that day, and I was devastated because, what? I got dumped. Anyway, walk out the bathroom, and Superman is sitting there on the bench. And he goes, "No, I should never make you cry like that." Okay, thank you. And he's like, "Nah, you know what I'm saying? I'm young, but no man should ever make you feel like that." He had braces. So I'm like, again, thank you. And I go on about my business, and I go back to the movie. And I'm in the movie doing all of this, of course, on my little aim, my little sidekick. But by the end of the movie, I'm just kind of over it. So we're walking out the theater, and they're leaning on the car like they're in Boys in the Hood. So we're walking across the street, and his cousin comes up to me, which is the one with the acne problem, and he goes, "Hey, my cousin trying to holler at you." And I was like, "Well, why is your cousin not over here?" So he calls him over, and yes, we exchanged numbers. And yes, it probably was because, not even probably, it was because I was trying to make my now ex jealous. It is what it is. I was 24, whatever. So his first text to me was, "Hey, this is real name, the tall guy." So if you've ever seen me put TG on something, or heard about that nickname, that's where that came from. So anyway, fast forward, 2 months go by, and I have not gone out with him. I haven't really said too much to him outside of AIM and, T-mail. So I was just being well, realizing that my relationship is now over for real. My dad is like, "Well, why not just go and hang out?" He's like, "You don't have to do anything." He's like, "But just hang out. Have some male companionship." Not like that, but just someone to hang out with and have fun, that enjoys doing goofy shit like me. Right? So we decided that we're going to go to the movies at Festival Bay, which is now changed names probably 20 times. But we go to those movies, and I'll never forget this day because this is when I felt the shift. But it was a man and his son. And the son ran up to me and was like, "Oh my God, you're a magic dancer." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." That never happens, y'all. People don't know the magic dancers here. No, for real. People don't know the magic dancers at all. So I was taken aback, and he asked if he could take a picture. He pulls out a real camera, and he takes a picture. After that day, there was a shift. I started getting invited to promos, to fashion shows, to theme parks, like, team events. I was everywhere. And I had stated a few times that I was thinking about going back to dance, and he was against it. So I did a brand ambassador tour with Cherry Vanilla Dr. Pepper, came back, and I said, I've made up my mind. Like, I'm doing this. And was he being supportive of things that I was doing? Yes. He was at the fashion shows that I did with Gaucher. Yes, that Gaucher. Hey, girl. He was coming to my parties. I mean, he was around. So I'm not going to say like he wasn't doing anything. He was. But I wanted my career. I went back. The team took me back, knowing what our history was. I danced that year. The next year I said I wanted to go to Miami. I said I wanted to dance for the Heat. That was my dream team, either there or the Dallas Cowboys. And both of those he was completely against, and I had no idea why. He would offer like our suggestions for other teams, but never those two. Just completely against anything in Texas and Miami. Now you'll know why. I auditioned for the team. I make it. Yay me. And after a couple weeks, there's a couple girls that are just treating me weird, and I didn't know why. Well, I ended up finding out that he had cheated on me with one of my teammates who used to live in Texas, but now was coming to the Heat, and he had been trying to get both of us to not say anything. Anyway, broke up with him and was trying to live my best life, y'all. Really was, right? And I ended up getting in an argument with one of my best friends on the team that you all know as Super Black Girl, Tracy. Got in an argument with her, so I was suspended for 2 weeks. So I went to Mexico with my DJ friend, and we had time of our life, whatever. Came back, and my phone is blowing up. My little sidekick, and it's him. And I'm asking for advice from my DJ friend, and he's like, "Hey, just go and talk to him. Just see what he got to say. Just hear him out. Like, maybe he really is sorry." Okay. I go to the hotel, and at first he wasn't in there because he was at like team meetings. But then he comes in, and we're in there and we're talking, and he's pleading his case and asking for forgiveness, talking about how much he loves me and that he'll never do it again, that I'm the one for him, I'm perfect this, perfect that, all these things, y'all. And I said I would think about it. I said, I'll talk to you later. So I walked to the room, or I walked to the door, and he pulls me back with my arm, and he's like, "Well, can I at least have a hug?"
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Sure. That hug turned into kissing and touching and our child being conceived. I did not know I was pregnant until about a little over a month later, when I was in practice, and one of the dancers who, funny story, ended up marrying the head coach of, that's not important, sorry. So after practice, I go to Walgreens and I buy a pregnancy test, and I take it home, take the test, call my brothers and girlfriend, wait for the results, and when I see them, I start bawling. I literally lost it. I saw my entire career just disappear, and I was devastated. I called my mom in the same state of mind. She's losing it. She's freaking out, until I finally tell her, like, I'm pregnant. She goes, "Oh, I thought you body." That's how hard I was crying. She asked me if I had told him, and I said, I've been texting him. I've been texting his cousin. I've been texting his best friend, and nobody was responding. And I said, "Mom, I cannot be a mother." And I said, "Please help me. Like, I cannot be a mom. I'm not ready to be a mother." And she was like, "Well, you're going to have to tell your dad." So for 2 days, I waited for a response. And when I finally got one, the response was, "I was asleep." I responded, "For 2 days, you just played a game in Milwaukee last night." And then he responded, "I thought you were on birth control." About a week went on, and there was a little bit of communication. And the communication was regarding terminating the pregnancy. I was told that he would help me. I just needed to get to Orlando. and we would do it there. I said, okay, not a problem. Just know it has to be a quick turnaround because I have to get back to work and I can't let my parents know. Please understand, I had no idea how it worked at all. So I'm thinking that I could just get up and turn around. Anyway, communication ceased again. Now I'm having to talk to my parents. I talked to my mom again. She was adamant about me telling my dad. So I told my dad, and my dad was like, huh? And I'm like, huh? What? He goes, all right. And I said, well, I don't want you to worry because I'm not going to keep the baby. I'm going to terminate the pregnancy and then I'm going to finish the season out. I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to fulfill this contract that I got with Treasure Island. Like, I had all these plans and I was going to pursue my career. And he was like, no. He's like, you're going to have to put that on hold. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, you were woman enough to lay down. You're going to be woman enough to keep this baby. Now, back then, it wasn't a decision that was just easily made where you could just go to a clinic, okay? It was also extremely expensive, especially for someone who was dancing on basketball courts and shorts and a half top. So my mom did not give me the money, and I was now stuck. And I was asking friends. I was trying to just figure out anything I could do. It even got to the point where I was drinking tray or I was trying to use it. It was bad. It was bad. But when I went to the doctor and I heard the heartbeat, that is when things were put into a bigger perspective for me. I don't know what it is, but when you hear that heartbeat, it changes you. And I knew then that I was going to be a mom. And so now it's time to tell Superman that he is having a baby. And as you can imagine, that message was not received well. And I was met with a bunch of, oh, you're tarnishing my image, you're ruining my career. I'm a Christian, what I look like having a baby, and I'm trying to put the cross on the NBA logo. How could you do this to me? You're a gold digger. Oh yeah, I was hit with everything, y'all. Like I didn't have a career. But because none of those changed my mind, he then hits me with, and I have a girlfriend. Okay. I've always had a girlfriend. Oh, wow. Okay. So now I'm realizing, y'all, that not only is this person a completely different person than I thought he was, but I've realized that he is a master manipulator and he will do any and everything to get exactly what he wants. When I was about 4 or 5 months pregnant, I was asked to attend a meeting at a restaurant right around the corner from my townhome. I agreed to it, and when I got there, one of the first things said to me was, you don't look pregnant. I said, thank you. And they said, no, because you have your belly ring in still. Mind you, I had already had this conversation before about wearing a belly ring while I was pregnant. I just liked it. But then they said that it just looks like you're poking your stomach out. Why am I here? Like, what the y'all got going on? What do you want? Right? We sit down, and in this meeting is his manager, his cousin, himself. I am then offered money. I'm asking what the money is for. I'm thinking that maybe it's to help me with my pregnancy. No. I was asked to move away and say that this baby was not his. Twice. I declined. They got angry. I was then approached by the team office and they wanted me to come in and have a sit-down conversation and do a prenatal paternity test. My doctor said absolutely not. Therefore, I said no, it was dangerous. And once the baby came, I was not opposed to doing so. For the next couple months, I got ready for a baby shower. I got ready with my baby registry. And every time I did anything, I was met with false accusations. I was with the baby registry, I was told to take his name off of there. And I did. For the baby shower invitations, I was told to take the name off of there. So I did. But I was still receiving anonymous messages on MySpace and Twitter. And I didn't know what to do. Around Early November, I started having really bad complications with my pregnancy, and I was put on bed rest. I didn't listen, but I was put on bed rest. As hard as it was to sit still, it was something that I knew I needed to do because I could tell something was wrong. On November 16th, I had a doctor's appointment, and my doctor was like, you need to go to the hospital, and they need to put you on a monitor. Stop letting them tell you that you're dehydrated. I said, okay, cool. We go to the hospital. They still don't put me on the monitor, and I'm just over it, and I go home. Around 3:33 that next morning, November 16th, I woke up to excruciating pain. I threw something down the stairs. My brother came up, who had been staying with me. I told him I needed to go to the hospital. We go to the hospital. They finally put me on a monitor, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're having contractions for real. No shit. They say that they're going to admit me. I said, until how long? They said, until you have this baby. Oh, cool. Tell my mom everything. This is also during Classic Weekend. 54 and a half hours, I was in labor, and my child was delivered via C-section. They knew the day that I went into the hospital. They knew the complications I was having. They knew that the child's heart rate had been dropping, and not one person cared. Not one person responded to that at all. But when they found out that the baby was born, an immediate message came through to my mother asking for a picture. I said, send the picture. She sent the picture, and the response was, oh, that's my grandbaby. To me, all babies look alike when they're born, so whatever, but hey, go off. I was thinking that maybe that was going to be a start to something better, but it was actually the gateway to hell. For the next 3 days, I stayed in the hospital, and not one time did I receive a visit from him or anyone in his family, but his girlfriend actually did stop by unannounced and uninvited with a bag of bibs talking about we needed to speak. I said, no, we don't. Asked her to leave, and she left. It was cool. Well, a few days later, I was discharged from the hospital the day before Thanksgiving, actually. And on Thanksgiving, we go to my cousin's every single year, who stayed right around the corner from him. He kept saying that he was going to come by, that he was around the corner, that he was about to ring the doorbell. All these things, kept saying that he was coming by. Y'all, he never showed up. We then ended up taking a paternity test at a neutral location, even though the team had asked me to take it at their offices, and I said, hell no, because I don't trust them. We took it at a neutral location. The results came back on Christmas Eve. He acted like he was excited, wanted to see the baby the next day, Christmas. I said, cool. Christmas comes. He's like, who all over there? And he wanted to see him by himself. I said, absolutely not. I'm not telling my family to leave. They're my support system. So they stayed. He comes in. He's with his cousin. His cousin is taking all these pictures. I'm not taking pictures. His cousin's taking pictures. Next thing we know, a few days later, these pictures that his cousin has taken, one in particular where he's laying on the sofa and our child is on his shoulder, has now gone, like, I guess back then, viral. And everybody now knows that Superman has a baby.
Thanks for tuning in to 9 Mag TV.